The Kappa. In a small Japanese town, there was a very healthy family who had just moved to that place to set up a textile company. This family was made up of the father, the mother, and a unique boy named Takeshi, who was only 10 years old, who undoubtedly drew the attention of others for his inappropriate behavior. In the street of Japan, the ladies came to comment that if they had a son who was this spoiled and disobedient, they would have abandoned him a long time ago. Others, however, say that if at least he had been poor like them, he would not be so disobedient. In the Japan Park, there was almost always an old man, a homeless person on the street. He listened with disinterest to all those usual comments they made about Takeshi and his family, and perhaps he thought that if he knew them more deeply, he would have the true version. So he decided to go to the family's house with the look that if he saw Takeshi, we could help with advice, but even though he was there all afternoon, he never saw him. Meanwhile, Takeshi's family in his room was discussing the great disobedience that the child had towards them, so much so that the mother reproached the father that it was his fault that this situation has happened, that if only he had not left to work for several years away from the country, I would have been more attentive to truly correct Takeshi. One day, one day Takeshi left his house to meet his friend from the park, who had invited him to bike in a river far from the town. This was a risky adventure that the children did because it showed their parents that he could take care of himself. When arrived at the park, that old man recognized him immediately and began to talk to him as if he were his son. He held beside him and showed him all the mistakes he made with his parents. We begin so disobedient. Takeshi laughed out loud at what the old man was telling him, and with a haughty voice he shouted at him that if he continued talking to him, we would accuse him of being harassed by the police. The old man had no choice but to walk away from him in silence. Takeshi set off with his friend, and when they arrived, they took a break before bathing in the river. They talked about how if their parents really loved them, they wouldn't keep giving them so many rules. After a while, they were playing near a river. They heard a whisper coming from water. Takeshi approached it and saw a mysterious creature with the body of a turtle, beak and limbs of a frog, that was known to ancestors as a Kappa, a terrifying mythical figure. The Kappa looked at Takeshi with piercing eyes and warned him that there was a disobedient child and that if he did not change his attitude, he would be the one to divide him. Takeshi decides to challenge the Kappa. For several days, Takeshi continued to play near the river and disobeyed his parents' orders. Every time the Kappa appeared, he reminded her of the consequence of his behavior, but Takeshi didn't seem to care. One day, as Takeshi ventured further into the forest near the river, he came across a sign warning of the presence of the Kappa. He remembered the words of the mythical being and left a chill run down his spine. So he ran home scared, in order to change that disobedient and defiant attitude. Since then, Takeshi became a great example for the other children of Japan, thanks to his warning.